Hi, welcome back to Make It Hackin. I'm Andrew, and today we have a special episode for you. We are going to hack some wires. First I want to give a shout out to the Ann Chestnut's Robotics Club. I helped mentor their Lego robotics team a couple years ago, and just want to give a shout out to them. All right, so today what we're doing is we are going to be combining an alligator clip, normal sort of alligator clip that you probably have lying around your place, and actually we're going to do both a male jumper wire for breadboard and a female. So female to female, male to male. What we're going to do is we're going to cut each of them in half and have a alligator clip to male and alligator clip to female. So I got inspired for this project by Adafruit for a couple reasons. One is they actually sell the alligator clip to male jumper. So if you don't want to do this project and you just want to buy them, I'll put the link below. You can go buy their stuff. I'm not sure if they have to female, alligator clip to female, but you can search that as well. And then also, I am trying to measure a voltage on this board, and it has the male headers in there right now. And so they wanted to picture this because I'm having some trouble with it and measuring some voltage. And so I'm measuring the voltage just putting the two probes on the certain pins that I am measuring across. But the quickest way to do this would be if I had a alligator clip to female, and then I could just plug it in there and hook it up to my multimeter, and I could get the voltage off there. So I'm going to do each one of those. And since I need to cut this alligator clip in half, we're going to do two of them, right? So I'll get two out of this one, two out of this one, and then we'll do two male and two female. And I'm going to keep it black and red for this one because that's sort of like the most common connection. And when you're hooking up to a multimeter, you don't need to know, but you could do this with other colors if you want to, have them for any other purpose. So some of the stuff that you'll need a black and a red alligator clip, one of each. You'll need a black and a red male to male jumper, and you'll need a black and a red female to female jumper. And if you only wanted to do one of these, you could do that. If you have a male to female jumper, you could just cut that in half and use both of those. Equipment, I have some heat shrink tubing that I'll use to close these off. I have my heat gun for my heat shrink. I have my multimeter, which I'll use to check continuity. I have a little breadboard. I might need that to check continuity or something. I got some flush cutters, some wire strippers, and my soldering station. All right, so here we go. So let's just go ahead and go right into it. So I'm just going to start with red to make things easy. And I'll just cut this in half. Okay. Then strip the wire. So I'll start on the thickest gauge on here. Strip some wire off. Okay. So I can see in here that it's stranded wire inside the alligator clips. Yeah, so I got these on Amazon. I'll link them below. And I got 30 of these. They come in 3 sets of 10. And they were $9, including Prime shipping, Amazon Prime. And they're 19 inches long. Got 30 of them. You get red, yellow, green, white, and black. 6 of each. And so I just wanted to say that usually I say if something's below 4 stars, I never buy it. This was an exception. These were 3.7 stars out of 5, which is pretty close. But I mean, the reviews on there, there's only 66 reviews, and how bad of this is basically a wire. Right? So unless the thing was had bad continuity or something, then I really don't care too much. So yeah, those were only $9. All right, so cutting the red. All right, and now I'll cut the male jump wire for the red, and then cut the red female. All right, now when I do this, I'm going to have an extra female and an extra male that are red. Okay, that's cool. This is stuff that you can save for extra projects. Don't worry, you'll find a use for these. So put those off to the side. All right, so actually let's just go ahead and strip these. So these are stranded as well. That's good. All right, that's all in red. And then let's just do the same for the black. Find the middle, cut somewhere near it. Find the middle, cut somewhere near it. This isn't going to be too precise of a measurement. And then we'll strip. So I do have automatic strippers. I don't have the best ones. So maybe that's why I don't use them all the time. These manual ones I'm okay with. If I was doing like a lot of stuff, maybe I'll use the automatic ones, but let's see if I can find a pair. I'll show you how those work. Alright, so this is one set that I have. I got these on Amazon. I forget how much they were, but basically you just place your wire in here, and when you press it, you'll see that this mechanism is grabbing it, and you just basically hold there and it strips it. So that's pretty cool, right? It doesn't matter what gauge it is. You just set the depth of how much you want to strip it. All right, so now I got all my pieces. Oh yeah, I'll have an extra male and an extra female black, and I'll put those on the side. All right, so I'll start with my red male connector. First thing to remember is heat shrink tubing. You gotta put it on there before you start. So let's cut a little piece off. Something like that. And, you know, I have different colors of heat shrink. You can keep it red and black if you want to make this thing sort of look uniform. However, having a little bit of like white, or if you choose yellow, blue heat shrink, whatever you got, that's going to help me know that this specific cord is different from the others. In case I'm looking at a bunch of alligator clips, if I see the white heat shrink on there, I'll be like, oh yeah, that is my my special cord. Okay, so I'm just going to trim these wires a little bit. You want to pull the heat shrink tubing away from where you're soldering. Oh yeah, I should probably turn my soldering iron on. And because if it's too close to it, it will actually get the heat from the wire and shrink. Not where you wanted it to. Alright, so people have different methods of combining wire to do the heat shrink. I'm just going to do the X method. So you basically just I kind of twist these so I get sort of like a nice solid point. And then cross the wires together and sort of just go like that. Kind of like that. Okay. So now I will solder this. So I'm going to use my helping hands to help hold this wire. Okay, so there we go. Okay, here we go. Heat up the copper wire, place the solder on there. It should start melting when it gets hot. All right. So that is good to go. All right, that's basically it. What would be a smart thing is to check continuity before we put the heat shrink on. So I'm going to turn my multimeter on and set it to continuity. Okay, I'll clip one here, and then I'll just touch the other. Hopefully you get a beep. There you go. So that stuff looks good. All right, and I'm just going to do the rest of these, and then I'll do the heat shrink afterwards. It's a good idea to have a fan or a fume extractor, so you're not breathing in the smoke that comes from the rosin of your solder. But I forgot to set mine up, and sometimes it's a little loud for TV or video, so you can also just use your breath to kind of blow it out of the way. But ideally you'd have a certified fume extractor, that sort of thing. Oh, guess what? Forgot to put the heat shrink on. So guess what? We're going to be doing this again. So I'm just going to cut it right here and cut it right here. Alright. I'm going to use the automatic strippers. So you need a little more than that. So even though I told you don't forget to do that, I forgot to do it. See, these things aren't the best. It's not really working. I don't know. See, can't ever go wrong with these. All right. So heat shrink. Let's go ahead and cut a few more of these. Put it on the alligator clip side because we got some more room there. Alright, then we twist these. Take two. I just bought this solder spool over here. I'm not sure if you can see it on camera, but it holds the solder. It's like kind of like a dispenser. And you could either buy it, I got it on Amazon, of course. You could either buy it for like, I think it's like 13 bucks. Or you could get a kilogram of solder with it for a grand total price of, I think it was $33. So it was only $20 for almost a kilogram of solder. Which is a pretty good deal. Although, like, you don't really get too much specifics on what type of solder it was. The packaging had, you know, some stuff on it, but it wasn't really anything too defining. So I took a little bit of a risk, and yeah, I'm still not sure how much I like it. So good solder is definitely one of those things that you want to have, and I might have just wasted some money, but if I did, then it's a good learning lesson, and maybe I'll donate to somebody and get some other good stuff. So what practices do you use to not waste solder? I mean, I guess you could just solder right off the spool, but you know, that's not really practical. I see some people have like this little bitty kind of spool thing that's like in a, looks like almost like a cigar tube or something like that. That's pretty cool because you can just like hold the tube. But I don't think you get such a great deal on that for the amount of solder you get. So I'd like to know, what do you do to solder most efficiently? I'm always about efficiency. I love streamlining processes and that sort of thing. All right, so I checked the continuity on the first one, but I didn't do it on any other ones so far. So again, before I do my heat shrink, I'm going to test that out. Okay, so that one's good. To test the female, right, I really can't put it in there. I mean, I kind of can, the probe a little bit. But what I'll do is I'll take a male, one of the extra ones that I have that's stripped and has some wire on the end. Actually, I'm gonna tin the wire. So tinning wire is basically just putting a little tiny amount of solder on the end of it to kind of make stranded wire become sort of solid core. Not really solid core, but just something that's nice to to interact with. So if you have alligator clips like I do, it's sort of best if you're grabbing one piece of wire and not 5 little ones. So taking the wire is just putting a tiny amount of solder on it so that it holds it all together. Alright, so I'm going from my alligator clip to female, put in my male jumper, and then the other end is basically another male. And here we go. It's sort of not the best connection, but I'm getting continuity. It's just not really the best connection here between this probe and this thing right here. But I'll still call that a pass. Alright, next up. This is another female, so I'm going to take the thing I just had. Oop. Actually, another thing you could do is, instead of taking this, I could just take one of the ones that I know have continuity, the alligator clip to male, plug that in my female, and then attach these. How awesome is that? Alright, that one's good. And then I already tested this one, but just to be sure. There you go. Alright. So continuity is good to go. I'm happy with that. Next thing we're going to do is do the heat shrink. So this is just a hot air gun. You might be able to use a hair dryer. Maybe not. I don't know. This is specific sort of for this application. So some hot air guns are differently set up. This one basically has a low and a high range, and you can either hold the gun itself and sort of get to this, maybe using your helping hands. This has a little stand on it, so I'm just going to basically set it down, turn it on, and then I'll hold the wire out like that. So first we need to get the heat shrink over the junction, like so. I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of them. If you don't have a hot air gun, you can use your soldering iron, and I might do one of these with my soldering iron to just show you what that looks like. It's not the best looking thing, and also if you don't have heat shrink in the first place, you can use electrical tape. Just make sure if you use electrical tape that maybe you do a better job soldering the two wires together, because it won't provide as much protection as heat shrink could do. But yeah, you can use your soldering iron to melt the heat shrink. It just like looks burnt after you do it, sort of. So, all right. So the first one I'll do with my soldering iron. So you kind of just like touch it a little bit, just kind of like wrap it around, rotate it. Like I said, it's not going to be the prettiest thing because you're kind of like burning the plastic a little bit, but that works. There we go. Okay, so that one is good. Just clean off your soldering iron afterwards, you know. So, all right, the rest we'll do with the air gun. And that is basically it. So we have a little bit of heat shrink left. I'll save that. So that's it. So now we have 2 alligator clips that are male and female for each color. So that is going to help me measure some stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show you why I built the female ones for tonight. And I'm going to measure a voltage using them. So here we go, the magic of video. Woo, woo, woo. All right, so what I'm testing here is Adafruit's soundboard. I'm testing some voltage on the pins, the activation pins. So the way I'm going to do that is by powering it on, and I just do that with USB power. Okay, and I'm going to take my multimeter, and for my black lead, I'm going to put my alligator clip on there. For my positive lead, put my alligator clip on there. And now I have these nice female connections to go into the male headers. So I'm going to find a ground on here, slide it in, and put these on one of the trigger pins. And I'm getting about 111 millivolts. So I just want to take a picture of that to send to them, because that's what they asked for. This voltage isn't really fluctuating too much, right? So this is sort of like the best way to measure voltage across this. And I'm just going to sort of test this for other pins, but I expect it to be basically all the same. So I'm not sure why I'm having a problem with this board, but I am. So I'm hoping they can help me resolve the issue. So before, if I wanted to measure the voltage across ground in one of those trigger pins, I had to do this. Right? I had to take a lead in each hand and kind of like get on the ground pin and then get on one of the trigger pins. And if you look at the multimeter, it's kind of like fluctuating a little bit, like it's kind of bouncing all over the place. But it is kind of sort of getting back to the 111. But it's just kind of taking a while to get there. And that's because I'm trying to get the best contact with these pins on the solder point, but that's just kind of hard to do. So having these alligator clip to female are really good for measuring the voltage on male headers or continuity. If you want to do that, you can do continuity as well. And then the ones with the male clips, these will be good if I was wanting to check maybe the voltage or continuity on breadboard. So you can put these in a breadboard, and then if you wanted to measure whatever the voltage was on those rails, you could hook it up to your multimeter like that. So that is it for this sort of tutorial slash hacking our alligator clips and prototype wire. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. You'll see all those buttons down there. Let us know, again, what your soldering tips and tricks are. How do you sort of do things to be the most efficient? Because I want to hear those things. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's make it hacking.